Okay, so this event, um, after the dismal failure with Blue Deck last time, I figured I would just go with the deck that won the Grand Prix, give or take some changes. So I went and I found out that Manuel Sutor, Grand Prix finalist, and someone who I've worked with for a few Pro Tours, um, played this list 4-0 in a daily, 3-1 in a different daily. I spoke with him earlier too about updates to the deck, and this is like a lot of what he kind of came to the conclusion of after testing and knowing a lot more about it than I do. Because this is not my style of deck in the format, but given how good this card is, I could easily see it becoming my kind of deck. So if you look at it, we got 10 cantrips. Thought Scour over Slight, because the more important thing is actually the fact that Thought Scour is a pseudo dark ritual for Treasure Cruise. Um, This stack of interaction, you have pillars over fork bolts because in this format, unlike Legacy, it's less important to fork bolt like a Pyromancer and the Guy, or a Nettle Sentinel, like versus like you could not a Nettle Sentinel, but like a Aquarian Ranger and a Lana or Elf or something like that. And it's more important to exile a Kitchen Finks. So you have pillar over fork bolt with some amount of split because there are times where you do want to do the other thing. Vapor Snag also in this format because there are larger creatures like Siege Rhino you have to get out of the way as opposed to Legacy where it just isn't a thing. Counter Magic Suite, you have Deprive over any number of mana leaks. You'll notice that you either are on the side of mana efficiency or late game viability because you are playing late games with Treasure Cruise. So there's no mana leaks, no remands. You do have Spell Snare as your up-tempo catch-all against a lot of things like opposing Tarmogoyfs that are obnoxious. Spell Pierce as your efficient maneuverability counter in the early game. That's usually pretty easy to find something landed on. And then Deprive is your 2-mana counter of choice. You can't really overload on this card, so 2 is the max. These are your card advantage engines. You have 2 Snapcasters on top of the 4 Treasure Cruise. Really shouldn't be too difficult to support all of this with all of these cantrips and removal spells. And then the creature base, 4 Delver, 3 Pyromancer, 4 Goyf. Oh look, they're all good. Very simple. Only 3 Pyromancer because you can't have too many on the clunky side of threats. And multiple Goyfs work together well, they both attack. Multiple Pyromancers work together less well because it means that you have less velocity. Like, it's one less card in your hand that means less velocity to fuel the first one. 18 lands might actually be one too many, but we'll see. I think with 3 colors, it's a little different than in Legacy. Also, with less good cantrips, it's different. No ponders and stuff. There is a single Sulfur Falls as a blue-red jewel on top of your 9 fetches and your light amount of other jewels. Moving to the sideboard, you have 3 major categories. Generic permanent destruction for Scapeshift and Tron and all those things. Anything that's actually even trying to make more than 3 mana, honestly, Molten Rain's fine against. Destructive Revelry is the best disenchant that you can play. We'll see if the mana matters. I don't think it will. Just kind of spread of creature removal. Electricity also takes out Lingering Souls in this format on top of what it does in Legacy, so that's worth noting. Dismembers your catch-all, threats for opposing Goyfs, EE as a way to mop up like Zooish creatures. I don't really know what Hibernation's doing, but I'm sure I will figure it out very quickly. It does bounce pod, but I have the feeling that there's going to be a lot of weird pod board states where it bounces like 2 things and they still have a board that matters. So we'll see. Then counter spells to beat combo. Very simple category. You counter their spells, and their spells don't result, and then they lose the game. So I'm expecting this to be kind of the shell of like what a good blue deck looks like in this format, but we'll see exactly how good it is after a few matches.